All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us on the Drive podcast. We're so excited that you're here with us today. I have with us today two amazing guests. This is our hot topic episode. Hot topic, meaning we're going to go drill down deep into a great topic today about employee engagement. So I'm so excited. We have President's Council member with the West Des Moines Chamber of Commerce, Ben Vallier, CEO of the Iowa Clinic, with us here today. And we also have a very special guest from Atlanta. Yes, from Atlanta. Thank you, John Duisberg, Senior Strategy Advisor and founder of Cool Leaf, who ITA bought them some years ago. So thank you, John, for being here.
Yeah, thank you, Catherine.
We appreciate you both, and you all are coordinated. Look at this; they're matched. They didn't even call each other this morning, so I love it so much. All right, today we're going to drill deep into employee engagement, which is really the cornerstone of a company's success. Getting employees excited, engaged, and really embrace the work life, right? So we're going to deep dive into that today. So we'll start with you, Ben. Let's go global, though. Tell us about the Iowa Clinic and all the great things you're doing at the Iowa Clinic.
Sure. So the Iowa Clinic is a physician-owned multi-specialty medical practice. So we do everything from pediatrics to oncology to orthopedic surgery, transplant surgery. We have a number of surgery centers, imaging centers, laboratories, sleep centers, urgent cares, all of the things needed to support community-based healthcare. Throughout central Iowa, we have around 20 locations.
Wow.
And about 1,250 employees.
Oh my gosh. And when you started, how many locations did you have? Because I know you started in 2020. How many locations did you have then?
14,
okay.
12, somewhere in there.
So a lot of that expansion is due to you and your team.
Definitely the team, less so me, for sure.
So how many employees did you say you have again?
1,250 or so.
1,250. Okay. Amazing. Well, this is a great topic for us to talk about. And John, tell us about your expertise and tell us about Cool Leaf.
Yeah, so I've had the incredible honor to have a journey where, started as an entrepreneur, built a company that was a technology company focused on employee engagement, recognition, and was acquired by ITA Group about a year and a half ago. And so for the last 15 years, I've had the opportunity to work with brands all over the world to design and implement employee engagement, employee experience strategies. And we just see it as the future, Catherine. If you're a business that wants to be competitive, you got to be able to attract and keep the best people. And so being intentional and proactive when it comes to what is your employee experience, we just see that as the future.
I love that. And do you work with small companies, mid-sized companies, large companies? Tell us a little bit more about that.
So we also have the honor of working with the Iowa Clinic, and that's been awesome. And so they're a perfect example of 1,000 plus size organization. But yeah, typically for us, what we found is that when you start to get 1,000 plus, you have employees spread out. Yeah. Right. And so then how do you keep people connected? How do you build a sense of community and engagement when you have people who don't see each other? Right. And so at that size, we start to be able to provide, really strong solutions.
Okay. So for a smaller company like us, I'm thinking, how can I use Cool Leaf at the chamber? But we're just a staff of 7, probably not the best application for Cool Leaf.
Yeah.
Okay.
Someday you're going to grow.
Someday. Okay. Well, we'll get to 1,000 employees. I love that. Well, that's amazing. So let's kind of dig deep into how do you define employee engagement? So Ben, how do you maintain staff engagement? How do you keep them excited? This is a high pressure environment, healthcare, right? People are coming in, they're usually not feeling so good. So how do you help your employees with that?
Well, I think it starts for us with deeply caring about our employees in a really sincere way. Our employees aren't commodities. They're our team, they're our family. So I think it starts with that for us. And then a lot of things around communication, and this is healthcare. So always calling us back to the mission. These are mission-driven people. These are we're not making widgets. We're taking care of our friends and neighbors, and so these are people that are deeply invested in their community and want to take care of people. So every opportunity we have, we try to recognize that, appreciate that, and always call us back to that vision that we have. To be the leading force for healthy lives in Iowa, and a lot of things go all kind of around that and how we do it, but I'd say that's the core.
I love it. So how do you use the Cool Leaf technology for the Iowa Clinic.
Yeah, so it's a really cool platform, and I will probably mess up how I describe it, and John can sort of sort that out. But the way I think of Cool Leaf, it's sort of like an internal social media system.
Really? Okay.
So what we recognize is as we got bigger, we have more locations. Just like John said, it becomes a little harder to maintain that kind of familial culture we wanted, where people felt connected.
Yeah.
Where it was easy to communicate outside of email, which is a little cold. It can be a little bit stale. I can't be in 20 locations talking to all of the employees all the time. We always have new employees coming in the door. Things are always changing. And so folks, particularly if they weren't at one of our larger campuses, would say that they were feeling disconnected from some of the hub of activities around the company. So Cool Leaf helped us to engage our team members by doing shout outs, recognizing people as an alternative communication source. We've moved our reward system there so we can, if you do something great for a patient, your manager can say, hey, here's 25 Tick Pulse points. Tick Pulse is our internal brand
Tick Pulse,
for Cool Leaf. So here's some Tick Pulse points, and then you can save up your Tick Pulse points, and you can go to a store and you can buy a Iowa Clinic hoodie, or you can do a VRBO or a plane ticket or all kinds of other kind of cool stuff.
Whoa.
So there's a monetary reward component that we do through this point system.
Wow. And
for us, that's just a way to put some dollars behind what we say we care about, which is providing excellent service both to internal and external customers.
And I'm a customer of the Iowa Clinic, love the Iowa Clinic.
Thank
By
you.
the way, I'm a patient and love it. So can I recognize one of your staff members and they would get a point from somebody on the outside, or is it just for internal?
It's really internal.
Okay.
We have ways to kind of do that. And so
Okay.
a lot of times, like you might submit an email through our website and say, hey, this nurse just really made my day, and or this doctor did this or that. And so then the manager will get that, and then they'll go on Tick Pulse and they will probably take your name out of it, but we might publish it there.
Gotcha.
And we'll say, hey, this employee described this experience. And we just receive these incredible kind of emotionally impactful things, people
Wow.
going through difficult diagnoses, or having a baby and having a great experience that way.
There you go.
Kind of the whole
Yeah.
the whole gamut. And we want to be there for all of it, and we want to recognize how we're taking care of people and all that.
Yeah.
And so then we'll a lot of times take those. We'll use our Cool Leaf platform to promote those things.
That's so neat. I'm glad to know that. I'm glad our audience knows that too, because it's really important to recognize these folks that are working with these people every day, and they're the fabric of keeping us healthy as a community. So that's really good to know. I will personally use that. So that's fabulous. So John, how has technology reshaped how we measure engagement? We're in the world of AI right now. How have things changed over the years?
Yeah. So, thank you, Ben. That was perfect.
I love it. I love
Appreciate that. And I also
we didn't mean for this to happen.
this
By
is
the way,
great.
this just naturally happens.
And I also really appreciated how you shared that it is a mission-driven workplace, right? You're making an impact in people's lives. And when I think of employee engagement, I'm going to get to technology, it's about aligning the why behind why you exist as an organization, your purpose, your values, with how individuals can make an impact in their role every day, right? And then when you have the ability to share stories, when you have the ability to highlight individuals going above and beyond to live out those values, to live out that mission, to me, that's when engagement happens. Right. And so through technology, what you've now done is you've made this a more data-driven strategy. You've been able to scale these amazing stories, these amazing things that are happening every day that people may not know about.
Yeah.
But now you have a way to highlight them. You have the way to create awareness, right? And so let's say I'm a new tech, or I'm a new employee coming into the Iowa Clinic, and just as an example, and I see this story about how someone went, above and beyond to help that patient, in giving birth or whatever it might be, and it's tied back to a core value, and it's like that's what it means. That's what it means in my role, in my daily life, right? And so through technology, we can bring that to life at scale and really have awareness across the organization around these amazing moments that are happening.
I love that. I kind of feel like there's an advertising campaign opportunity here too, in a way. Have you ever leveraged some of these great stories that people are sharing about others, either internally or externally, and actually publicize that and use that as an ad campaign to show the care
I can say we do that today.
Cool.
So just like John's talking about, not just there's a great opportunity to recognize people, right? And then other people see that and they're like, wow, that's really cool. And I want to recognize this person and I want to be recognized and all that kind of connectivity. But our marketing team loves this concept because now they have this like automatic pipeline to great things that are happening.
Yeah.
And the marketing folks are in every company going around saying, tell us about customer stories, but people don't think about it, right? It's just, It's something they do every day. So now they have this pipeline of content that they can take and do a lot of, kind of recycle in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
I don't think that's should or is the primary, thing we're trying to do, but it's a great byproduct for sure.
Absolutely.
I love that. And I was noticing, John, on your website, you use the word love. Tell us a little bit about that. It's just so neat. You often don't see the word love on a website that, it's helping employee engagement, but I love it. Just tell us about how that means to you at the core.
Well, I mean, it's, I don't know. For me, as a founder, it's part of why I do what I do. I believe that in the workplace, you have the opportunity to love your customers, you have the opportunity to love your employees, and that, people will move mountains, when they feel appreciated, when they feel seen, when they feel respected, and they feel like they're making an impact. And so, I think it starts with leaders, and so we make that at our core.
I love that. Do you have, both of you, one specific example that you really think that this platform changed a life, enhanced a life, really impacted somebody deeply? Do you have any of those specific examples? That's always fun to hear.
I can share, and this is it's kind of, Catherine, something that like I just, you see it and then you're like, no, that can't be the way. But I've even seen, so we'll do surveys, we'll get feedback from users on our system, and someone shared, for example, that they were suicidal.
Wow.
And they got recognized by their manager, and it changed their perspective. And I'm like, I don't know, there's no way, but this is the feedback that we received. And so the power of a genuine thank you can be so meaningful that I don't realize what someone else is going through, but in that moment, at that time, that was what they needed, and changed their perspective on their life.
That's incredible. People need that recognition, and sometimes people need it more than others, right? And at the right time, that could really make such a huge difference. That's incredible. Love that story. Ben, what about you?
Well, nothing like that.
That's
pretty
pretty
really
incredible.
Cool.
Yeah, that's so cool. Wow. So both of you, what are some key metrics or changes you have seen that have been, you mentioned data-driven earlier, that have been deliberate, like, do you have any data around, hey, once we, have the Cool Leaf system adopted within our organization, the productivity, revenues, like, what do you kind of expect after you have this system implemented in your organization?
I can start, and then Ben, any feedback you have, I'd love to hear. So, so as an example, one of our clients, they were really focused on improving retention in the first 90 days, right? So massive retail organization, they go, it's expensive to hire, right? To train and bring up to speed. And so if they're losing people right after they go through all that expense to hire them, that's very difficult for their business to operate, right? And so we built strategies about how we could really be proactive in that first 90 days. We looked at the data, and if someone was recognized one time in the first 90 days versus those that were not recognized, there was a 14% higher retention rate.
Wow.
A lot of factors can go into that, but this is what the data showed us.
Just one time
in the first 90 days. And they attributed that to millions of dollars of savings. So ROI is real. The business case is there, right? And it was significant in this example.
Wow. Ben, what have you seen?
Yeah, a little bit of a different angle, probably on the same or very similar track. And so the number one driver for us of success of a department, whether it's economically, especially culturally, has to do with the manager in charge of that area.
Yeah.
And it is hard sometimes from my seat to know how efficacious a certain manager might be. There are times where you'll have good economic performance or good productivity, but you're still lagging in engagement. And then you're really not you're not performing as well as you could be, and you're certainly creating risk, and you're going to have turnover and all of those things. So one of the interesting things we've seen is a difference between managers that use Cool Leaf and those that don't, because it brings some measurability to this idea of I'm expressing gratitude to my staff, I'm appreciating them. And you can clearly see managers that are doing that a lot, the quantifiable results. But for that sort of a system, it's like, well, of course I say thank you to my team. Of course, what? Of course. Not that they should exclusively use a technology platform. I hope they don't, right? But we do have some remote folks here and there, and a lot of different locations, and so it's an important way to kind of measure that for us, and that's been an eye-opening thing. And I even had some people in some pretty senior positions, and I'm like. Really?
Are we going to use this or are we not going to?
Yeah. If I've got time to do it, I think you can find some time, chief of whatever. So
you make it optional, it sounds like, within your different departments and managers.
Yeah, semi-optional.
Semi-optional.
I think you want interactions to be sincere and authentic. It's just a great way for me to see like who's really interested in that, and maybe who's not. And sometimes it's a comfort with technology, or it's habit. It's all those human things. But I think it brings some interesting data to a situation that's a little harder to maybe get our arms around in the same way. But
Got
for that.
you. Well, and so what does implementation look like when a company says, we need this, we have more than 1,000 employees, we want to increase that customer engagement, attraction, retention? What does adoption look like, and what's the process from let's go to we're implementing?
Yeah, well, so I mean, we're talking about technology a lot, but I would say just as important or even more important is the strategy behind the technology, right? And so Ben's team, Kylie Skabberg, for example, Chief Marketing Officer, has an amazing vision for how to use this strategy as an internal marketing program, right? To share those stories as an example. But so we work with organizations to because we work with so many different companies, we just learn from them. And so we've built a lot of best practices and a lot of knowledge, and we bring that to our clients to help them define the program based on their goals, and then we design the platform around that, right? And then we help them to launch, and the communications and the training, all of that is part of the services that's wrapped around the technology, and that's really the key to success.
What made you start this wonderful company that's changing lives?
We need happy hour time to get through all of that. But it's been a journey. We had multiple pivots. We almost went out of business multiple times.
Wow.
So it's not all hugs and kisses. I mean, it's a lot of lessons learned. It's 15 years and a lot of gray hair of learning and being willing to adapt and evolve based on where the market was, kind of moving us. And so it's been a journey, but, I'm really proud of our team and what we've been able to achieve for our clients. And I know that, when we work with a new organization, just like the Iowa Clinic, that we're going to have the opportunity to make an impact in people's lives in a positive way, right? So think about this, like most people spend the majority of their waking hours away from their family, away from their friends, working, right? So if you can improve the quality, or if you can improve the experience that they have at work, you're improving the quality of their life. And if you can do that in a way that's going to help that business be successful, then you have a very special win-win.
Well, can I ask you, because we have a lot of entrepreneurs that listen to this, and we support small business owners greatly, and they have their trials and tribulations, right? What's one big thing you learned during the startup phase and where you are now? Because obviously you're a big success right now. What's one thing you learned through that journey? Hard to say one thing, but if you had words of wisdom.
Yeah, the highs are never as high as you feel like they are, and the lows are never as low as you just have to keep going the next day. And it's one of these things where, you have to have belief in yourself to keep moving forward and keep moving towards this vision. And it just, there's times when you lose a client or you lose a key employee and it just feels like things are crashing down.
Yeah.
And you have to just stay true to that vision and stay going. And people will rally around when they see you as the leader being true to that vision,
Yeah.
that attracts others to have that engagement. And so,
I love that.
just keep going. You can't get too high, you can't get too low. You got to keep moving
Keep
forward.
marching forward, yeah. And so, Ben, with your huge expansion, your incredible success, what is a word of wisdom that you give to other CEOs and leaders that are expanding and growing? And I'm sure you've gone through lots of ebbs and flows. You went through the pandemic, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
So, and in healthcare, I mean, how wild was that, right? So,
Yeah, I don't know words of wisdom. I think it's all about the people you surround yourself with. Whether it's mentors or it's peers, it's your immediate team members. I think those relationships for me make such a massive difference, not only in the ideas I have or this, whatever success our company is able to generate, but how you feel about it, how you think about yourself, how you frame that next challenge, how you find your blind spots. It's just those people that are around you all the time. And it's like, I don't know, childhood adage, right? Like, something about who you spend your time with is who you're going to be, sort of a thing. And I think that's true throughout life.
yeah. Okay. Last question for both of you. If there was one piece of advice you offer to leaders wanting to improve engagement within their companies and organizations, what would it be? One piece of advice.
So I would say to be the chief storyteller. And there's a lot of power in stories. People relate to stories, they remember stories, right? And so when you have the ability to share these stories of impact about how your mission is changing the world, changing people's lives, it's infectious, right? People latch onto that. And so just make time. Tell those stories, be that chief storyteller, and it's going to have amazing results.
I love that. What about you, Ben?
So mine's going to be strikingly similar. There's a Patrick Lencioni book where he talks about the CEO has to be the chief messaging officer, always talking about the vision and the direction. And in that book, he talks about how CEOs get sick of saying the same things over and over again. We get bored. And I found that to be incredibly true. I'm like, these people don't want to hear from me again about this. Because I do employee meetings a couple times a year, and I do like 14 of them, right, twice a year.
Wow.
And by that 14th meeting, I'm like, I don't even want to, like, this joke I made 6 meetings ago, like, let alone the stories I'm telling, about patient care and about experiences. Like, I don't want to hear them anymore. But it's new for those folks. And then I've got to remember that the next time I'm doing that, or the next time I'm sending an email, when you factor in turnover and growth, you're talking to an audience that by the end of the year is significantly different than the audience you had at the beginning of the year. So being that chief messaging officer, always calling people back to your vision, to your mission, and to your values, I think is our responsibility. Even though we get bored and tired of it, that's what they need from us, I think, more than anything else.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. Well, a little shout out to, or big shout out to Iowa Clinic. I love your executive health program. I've done it. I recommend everybody doing that. If you are an executive, it's fabulous. It's just a one day, and you'll find out everything about your health that you need to protect and or get looked at, right? So it's amazing. So appreciate that you have that here in our region. That alone has saved lives. So, well, thank you, John. Thank you, Ben, for being on the Drive podcast. And I just love this. Has been so special. And thank you all for joining us on this hot topic. And watch for new episodes soon. Take care.